chess, there's a thing called there are a few different possible results in chess. Win, lose, draw. Those are the main three. And then there's a possibility of what's called a stalemate. And a stalemate is similar to a draw. You can also forfeit if you don't show up to the game, which is a loss. One of the things that I was curious about when computers came in and started taking over as far as strength, playing strength, I was curious if people would start losing interest in chess because it's like, you know, anybody who plays the game, who has played the game enough, has realized that all of the titled positions that anybody can attain, like the master levels, national master, international master, grandmaster, candidate master, FIDE master, there are lots of different titles. You realize at some point that almost anybody here can get a title with work and study and practice. It's not anything that's unattainable to almost everybody. And of course, getting something like international master or grandmaster it becomes successively more difficult. And then above grandmaster, you have super grandmaster. And between each level, it's like the Richter scale. If you're measuring for earthquakes, like on a Richter scale, if I remember right, the differences between like a 5.0 and a 6.0 is the 6.0 is 100 times stronger than the 5.0. So it's not your traditional grading scale, like as if percentage out of 100 or something, like 70 out of 100 is 10 points higher than 60 out of 100, but on the Richter scale, the 7 magnitude would be 100 times stronger than the 6 magnitude. And with chess, it's the same. I could be wrong on the Richter scale. It might just be 10 times more per number. I don't know. I think it's 100. But in chess, it's kind of similar in, like, per 100 points of rating separation, it's almost the same as the Richter scale, where you would think, oh, you know, 2100 is just 100 points higher than a 2000, so therefore they're very close in strength. And that's not exactly true. It's almost the same as the Richter scale. And the ratings range from 1500, no, they range from like 500, which is super novice beginner, barely knows how to move the pieces, all the way up to master. Expert level starts around 1800, and then master level starts around 2000. That's the lowest master level. And then it gets up as you go up, and then the top GMs are 2800, 2850. So if you take all that and compare that to where computers are at as far as playing chess, computers are, compared to the human rating scale, they're like 400 points higher, I think. it's something like the computers are at 3200, 3300, probably 3200. And you know, if you think the Grandmaster is at 2850, the computer's at 3200. Komodo, Shredder, Stockfish, Ribka. So if you're using each one is 100 times stronger than the I don't think that scale is exactly correct, but it's some sort of exponential gain in strength rather than just counting. So it's hard to fathom how powerful the computers are. It's very difficult to fathom that. And now they have self-teaching computers like AlphaZero, Leela Chess, and those ones are even more powerful than. They just keep compounding. So I think what was that? There was a term for when the convergence point was supposed to be reached, but I forgot the name of it and I forgot the time. But it's when anyway, that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is that in chess, the higher you go in terms of strength, ratings, the higher that you go, and then you watch the games that are being played between, say, two supercomputers, what happens is the draws, percentage of draws goes way up. And because in human games, on average, if you look at the databases, draws stay around 30%, wins stay around 30%, losses stay around 30%. But when you get into computer games, then the percentage of draws drastically increases. And I am tying this back into our realm situation, of course, but what I'm trying to say is that the idea that having knowledge, excuse me, that having knowledge is some sort of a benefit. I'm challenging that idea. Knowledge as in practical, useful bits of information. Like in chess, some pieces of knowledge could be called opening knowledge, tactical knowledge, positional knowledge, checkmating, pattern knowledge, time management knowledge. And then each of those categories that I listed can be broken down into a bunch of subcategories, and then those can also be broken down. And that's how you start learning the game, is you learn the concepts and then they all interweave together. But with chess, as you watch the engines progress, and even grandmasters, the top human players tend to draw more often than amateurs, like regular clubhouse players. Clubhouse players they like doing crazy shit and making horrible moves and blunders all over the place and getting all upset. But they're having a great time, you know, like there's something in having knowledge concealed that's beneficial. Because at some level, and I think most chess players know this, at some level, at the highest of the high levels, chess is exactly a draw. No matter what happens in all of the nearly infinite variations. that can be played out over the board with perfect play on both sides, with highest possible strength, having a black hole power the chess engine, or a sun or a star system, you know, whatever, wherever you're gonna glean that much power from at the top levels, chess is probably a draw. So in order to have fun playing the game, you have to introduce whatever the opposite of knowledge is. Ignorance, blindness, memory wipes, forgetfulness, quirks, you know, introduce quirks. So this is how I feel it happened, or at least this is one possible scenario of how this situation that we have in the realm happened, is that the feverish acquisition of knowledge that has happened over the years, over the decades, over the millennia, over the eons, however long humans have been around doing this knowledge gathering stuff. Eventually, all of it was gathered. Like every last shred of knowledge was gathered. And then the ones who were battling against each other, you know, the super chess grandmasters of the human material realm, the ones that are fighting over resources and land and protecting ideologies and things like this, once they got to the highest level and they had the most advanced technology and they were destroying each other at rapid rates, destroying universes, destroying worlds, destroying phantom timelines, building phantom timelines, doing MK Ultra to the utmost extremes. What happened in this scenario is that all the knowledge was figured out, all of it. There was not one stone left unturned. And at that top level, and maybe it's the, you know, maybe it's the computer, like in not 2001, or one of those movies where the computer spits out the number 42 as the answer to the universe, whatever that computer's name is. What happened is all the knowledge was gathered, every bit of knowledge was gathered, and some sort of advantage or benefit was tried to be had on either side, whoever was warring or whatever factions were doing what. And it was simply found out that it's a draw. No matter how many of your enemies you vanquish, no matter how much progress you make personally, overall, existence itself and life and everything, aside from being 42, is just a draw. And so at that point, they're like, oh man, well, we've caused lots of carnage in attempting to win this, you know, black versus white battle. And now since we found out it's a draw, there's literally nothing we can do about it ever, then we gotta now try and fix the situation and make up some of our karmic debt that we've accrued over the millennia of playing these games. And here we are. Here we are in the realm. But to take it back to chess, if you were a sentient being, like a human, that was not a all-knowing entity as far as knowledge is concerned, and you wanted to play chess, you would be happy to be restricted. You would be happy to be handicapped, because then you could enjoy the game. if you knew it all, then you wouldn't be able to enjoy the game because you would just have a draw every time. One side has to be handicapped or blinded or wearing a veil of ignorance. That's the only way that a win can happen. That's the only way a loss can happen. Losses happen through psychological duress and just humans being silly, you know? Like that's what's actually enjoyable about being a human, is that humans are fucking weird and silly and strange, and they're all illogical and nothing makes any sense here. That's the outcome after all of this knowledge stuff has been explored to its utmost possibilities. We have a bag of weirdos just running around with their, you know, not knowing what the fuck is going on, and it's hilarious. But then you keep within you the knowledge that, you know, the thing has already happened forwards and backwards, and it's still happening and it's playing out, and it's impossible to wrap your mind around. But just the knowledge that even your present moment and whatever problems you're facing, like all of that, everything that you're facing in your sort of small life, like your 3D physicality life, every aspect of it, as far as form and possibility, lattice or matrix, like every possibility has already been seen and accounted for, and all of the ramifications of certain decisions, it's all known, but it's withheld from you so you can actually live your life and enjoy your life, because otherwise nobody would be enjoying anything. It would just be one, like if the war started happening again, like the Infinity War, or however the battle has gone in all various iterations and possibilities, like if that thing were to actually start again, it would only last a millisecond. It would be one snap and everything would just blink out. Like that's the convergence point. That's the, and it has nothing to do with like a specific spot on one timeline, like, oh, you know, 2012 is coming up, so we're gonna hit the convergence point. It's not like that. It's more like it's like a rushing together of all this internal knowledge as you just simply mentally explore the possibilities. And it can happen at any point, and it happens at every point, and it also doesn't happen. Anyway, chess thoughts. Peace.